This is generally going to be the quickest way that you can 2 to 3x your results. There's no bullshit in this video. It's actually how your brain works. It's actually how reality works. And I want you to leave this video with the sense of knowing and conviction that the result that you want, you must have. I'm also going to allow you to understand exactly why this doesn't work for most people. So let's get right into it. Intros, chopping back and forth, there's no need for it. I've got a little mic on today so that you can hear me a little bit better. But let's get into it. The first thing that you need to understand is a mechanism that works within you. So what is a result? Okay, well, it's an outcome in your life. So a lot of people, what they try and do is they look at the outcome, and to change the outcome, they focus on the outcome. But for you to understand how to change the outcome, you need to understand what creates the outcome in your life. So let's look at it. You have beliefs that you hold inside your mind. Okay, this belief leads to how you think, and the thoughts that you have. And those thoughts drive emotions, okay? And those emotions dictate how you act. And that action that you take, and those actions that you take, that is what dictates the outcome. So you need to understand, you're maybe trying this right now, and a lot of people are tricked into believing that to change the outcome, you need to change how you act. But if you're trying to change how you act, and you have the wrong beliefs, that's creating the wrong thoughts and focus, creating the wrong emotions, then ultimately changing the actions won't even, you won't be able to really change the actions to have a really effective change on the outcome. So let's look at it. Let's make sense of this, because this is really how it works. This is the internal mechanism inside of you that operates, and it has no bias. It does not care if you're good, bad, and I'll make this make sense. So let's look at the good. So imagine you have positive beliefs. So we'll just call it good for simplicity. So imagine you've got good beliefs. I can make money. I can make 100 grand a month. I can hit this big target. Well, perfect. You're going to have very good thoughts about that. Amazing. And those positive good thoughts will be, I can do it. Because you have this belief that it's possible. Then those emotions will then be good. Okay, those good emotions, you're going to feel motivated, you're going to feel excited. And those good emotions are going to drive these good actions. And again, good's very simple, but we're making it simple. And then guess what will happen? You will then end up with a result that aligns with this good. And it started here. It started in the positive beliefs. So let's look at if you have negative beliefs. So imagine you believe that it's hard to make £100,000 a month. £100,000 a month is really difficult in your mind. You believe that's hard. So that, again, good and bad, to just make it simple. Imagine you have a bad belief, so this limiting belief, this negative belief around it. That's going to then cause you to think negatively. So you're not going to be able to, if you don't believe it's possible, you're not going to think it's, I can do it. You're going to think, I can't do it. It's difficult. How that's going to make you feel is that same difficult and negative emotion. So you're maybe going to feel hopeless. You're going to feel that there's no point. You're going to feel demotivated. You're only going to feel that because you've had a negative belief to start off with that's created these negative thoughts, led to these negative feelings. And again, what actions do you then take in this scenario? The bad action. And the bad action might be inaction. It might be avoidance. It might actually be self-sabotage. It might be procrastination. All these things. And it's all the result of that initial belief that you had, which again is going to give you that result that is aligned with that negative action. But the negative action didn't happen before the emotion, because the emotion drove the action. The emotion was completely created by the thoughts that you were thinking, and the way that you think is directly caused by the way that you believe and what you believe. So to open you up to this perspective and this law of cause and effect, it just allows you to understand on an even deeper level how this actually works. So you think about this. Every cause creates an effect. That's what this law states. This law states that every cause creates an effect. So if that's true, then let's think about what is creating the outcome. We've just spoke about it. So we look at if the effect is the outcome, excuse my dodgy drawing here, but if the effect is the outcome, so the thing that is created is the outcome, then the beliefs, okay, the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we act is the thing that creates the outcome. But you cannot change how you feel without changing the beliefs, because how you think is based on what you believe. If you believe things are hard, you're going to think, I can't do it. We've already went through it. So what you're really trying to focus on now is not trying to change the outcome by changing the action. You need to place focus on changing the beliefs, which will allow you to think differently, feel differently, and ultimately act differently and get a different outcome. So changing the beliefs is what is going to allow you to 2 to 3x your revenue. It's not changing, and I'll make this more sense, make more sense, but it's not changing the actions. It's not trying harder. It's not doing this thing with more effort. That's not how you do this. So hopefully you're with me here. Hopefully this is making sense. Okay, so let's make it make even more sense. So let's be more specific. So let's be specific on £100,000 a month. Let's say that's the outcome that you want. So if you want £100,000 a month, then we need to understand what needs to be in place for you to make that type of money. Okay? So if the outcome that you want is 100k per month, this is the outcome that you're looking for. That's what you want in your life. Then if we reverse engineer this, you need to be taking actions that align with this. You need to be having emotions that drive actions that align with the 100k per month. You need to be thinking in alignment with the version of you that has 100k per month. And you also need to have beliefs that support the thinking that supports making 100k per month. So ultimately what needs to happen is you need to go from a place of I can't make 100k per month to I can. What happens when you change these beliefs? Let's look at it. So I want you to imagine that you're this little person here and you're seeing reality. Okay, so you've got reality here. And you're looking at reality through this little lens, this filter. What this filter is, it's called your reticular activating system, or RAS for short. And it's actually a part of your brain that filters reality. And how this filters reality is based on your beliefs and what you deem to be important. But we're focusing on beliefs right now. So it's going to filter reality to back up what you believe. So if you shift the belief and you start to believe that you can make 100k per month, and we're going to get to how this is possible. But if you shift that belief, then ultimately what's going to happen is this reticular activating system is going to use something called confirmation bias. And that actually happened to me, and I'll speak about how it happened to me in a second. But it's going to use confirmation bias, and this confirmation bias is going to cause you to find evidence, okay, that supports that 100k per month. But without shifting the belief, this is not possible. Your brain literally cannot filter reality to find evidence to support that new belief, because it's only going to support the current beliefs, which might be, I can't make 100k per month. So this evidence, okay, this will be coming in the form of opportunities, okay, or a new price. So this is what happened to me. So an example where, and I've had a bigger shift recently, but I'll speak about the start of the year. So I went from making 4k per month to 13.5k in 12 days. So I went from 4k per month to 13.5k just in 12 days. What happened? I shifted my beliefs. So I went from having a belief that I make 3 to 4k per month. Perfect. I then shifted that belief to I make 20k per month. Shifted that belief. So what did this then do? What did it allow me to do? When I shifted that belief, and I'll tell you how I shifted the belief. We're getting to that part. Don't be impatient. I shifted this belief that I make 20k per month. And there was techniques I used to connect to it. But when I shifted that, it changed how I thought. So I went from I can't make 20k per month, I can't see how that's possible, to I can see how it's possible, I believe it. Right? I had good feelings, I had taking good actions, and ultimately it gave me this result within 12 days. But what really happened was, because I shifted my beliefs, I shifted what my brain was looking for. I shifted the evidence that it was trying to find. And then what I actually done was, with this new price, so let's think about it, this new price, I went from charging £500 up front to charging £1,500 up front at the start of the year. And I only seen the opportunity to charge this amount based on the new belief that I had. Because if I believed that I could only make 3 to 4k per month, then I don't really need to do too much to make that much money. Like, I can charge £500 and I can definitely make 3 to 4k per month for selling £500 packages. But at the start of the year, I thought in my mind, okay, so what can I do to make the 20k a month? Once I'd shifted that belief, I then started to think, what could I do to hit the 20k? I thought, well, charging up front for 6 months, okay, think about this, 6 months instead of the 3 month that I was doing before. So I've actually not really like massively changed the price that I'm charging, really. So it's only an extra £250 every 3 months. But because I had this new belief in my mind of I can make 20k per month, I see myself as someone that can make that, then ultimately what happened was I seen evidence, I found evidence, my brain literally filtered reality to find evidence to charge more money to hit that target. But before, think about it, I had a belief that I couldn't make it. So I didn't even think about ways to make that 20k. I couldn't even see opportunities. My brain didn't allow me. I couldn't filter reality. I didn't feel motivated to make the money. My actions didn't align with it. So I didn't jump on a sales call and act in alignment with the version of myself making 20k. So I was just charging £500 per package instead of 1,500. And then the result ultimately, because of all these actions, the result was, I don't know why that's not working. Yeah, the result was 3 to 4k per month. So hopefully you're sticking with me here, because ultimately the only way that I done that was because I changed my belief. And that's all you need to do. But Kyle, like, what did you do to change your belief? Like, how did you actually shift from someone that was making 3 to 4k to then 20k in a month? Like, how did you do that? Well, let me speak about how I done it. The actual tool that I used was a tool called visualization. And what I done was, that visualization, okay, allowed me to actually shift who I was. It actually allowed me to shift my identity, ultimately. Just making sure that's nice and clean. So this visualization that I done, okay, allowed me to emotionally experience, okay, having 20k. Because I used this tool of visualization to trick my brain. This is exactly what happened. I tricked my brain. And the reason why I tricked my brain was because your brain does not know the difference, your subconscious mind, and your brain does not know the difference between vivid imagination, okay, so vivid imagination, and reality. It does not know the difference. It cannot distinguish the difference between vivid imagination and reality. So ultimately, as I was emotionally experiencing this life that I wanted, making the 20k, to get some new pens, making 20k, I was actually tricking my brain that I was someone that was emotionally experiencing that reality. And what started to happen was, okay, that emotional experience started to update my belief system. Because everything that you believed before, all the beliefs that have been formed, if we look at the actual framework of this, your experiences in life create your beliefs. And you know how the rest of it goes. Thoughts, emotions, okay, actions, and then outcomes. But the experiences that you go through, the things that you emotionally experience, that's what forms your beliefs. So by using visualization and emotionally experiencing 20k per month, I was actually updating my belief system, I was updating my identity, and I was emotionally experiencing that life. And then by shifting that belief using visualization and experiencing that emotionally, I started to find evidence like we just spoke about with the reticular activating system. It's literally how it works. It's literally how it works. But there still might be a part of you that's thinking, and I'm going to speak about why this doesn't work for most people. There might be still a part of you that's thinking, well, Kyle, what does that even, like, how does that make sense? Like, I don't even really know how that makes sense. And hopefully it does make sense. Hopefully that's kind of clicked in your head that that's what's happened. Is using the visualization allowed me to emotionally experience the life that I want and therefore update my self-image, my identity, my belief system. But let me give you a little, I want to plant a seed of conviction for you. I want to make this video very powerful for you. And I want this really, I hope this finds the right people, because when this information hits you and it's really meant for you, it will change your life. It really will change your life. And I'm now sending all these YouTube videos out with so much intention, so much love, because, and the reason why I feel I'm going to be fueling these videos with love now, because I really know how valuable this is for you to understand and know. If this is something that you've learned for the first time, or it's clicking in your head as I'm speaking, this will change your life. This will really 2 to 3x your results very, very quickly. No joke. It's happened multiple times with my clients. It happened with me, as I've just spoke about, and it's happening to me now. I've just quadrupled the price that I'm charging for my coaching service based on the beliefs that I've had shifted inside my mind. So I want to ask you a question while you're watching this, and I want to ask you a question. Do you, in any way, okay, see yourself with more money? Hopefully you'll say yes. Okay, and then I will ask you, well, where can you see yourself with more money? And you might say, like, in my mind, right? You're watching this because you're someone that believes that you've got more, right? So we can agree that even if you don't have a belief system that supports 100k per month, you have beliefs that allow you to have this knowing, this sense of knowing inside of you that you're meant for more. There's a next target that you can hit. There's more revenue you can make. You believe that. That's why you're watching this video. You're the kind of person that wants to really tap into this, right? So let's think about it. Where do those beliefs exist? Sorry, not beliefs. Where does that version of you exist? It exists in your imagination. And this is a concept I want you to open up to, because it's real. This is real life. That imagination, what you're seeing there, is not your 3D world, okay? So we've got this 3D world. So we've got the physical reality. Physical reality, okay? And that physical reality, as I'm sure you will know, is your 3D world. That's your 3D. Your imagination and the world that you can see in your imagination, because there's a version of you that you know is there. You can see it with your imagination, with your mind's eye. This is called the fourth dimension. Okay, and it's a bit crazy to think about if you've not been open up to this concept before, but this is called the fourth dimension. It's a really good guy called Neville Goddard. Really, really powerful guy. And ultimately, this is what he speaks about, okay, is the fourth dimension. And it's the part of you and the version of you that exists in your mind. So again, we can look at this. We just spoke about the cause and effect. So your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions will then dictate the outcome that you have in life. We can also look at it through this lens for cause and effect. So this is happening inside your mind, okay? Matter is your 3D world. So everything happens up here before it happens. Everything starts as an idea before it happens in the reality. And in this reality, it's the 3D reality. Everything happens as an idea. So the phone that you're using to watch this video, if it's a laptop or a phone, the phone I'm using to record this, the lights that I've got on here, this whiteboard, it was all an idea, okay? It was all an idea before it was a reality. And what brought that from the mental, okay, so the mind, into the physical, what brought it from there to there, this little bit, this bit here that was creating this physical creation, was action. So in no way am I telling you to just think, feel, be lofty and connect to your imagination, the fourth dimension. Action is what brings that mental idea, the phone, the iPhone, into creation. Okay, so there's action that needs to be taken. I want to reinforce that before we go any further. There's action that needs to be taken. But this is why most people fail. Listen to this. This is why most people fail. So you've got your 3D reality, and this is for one of my clients this morning. So one of my clients right now, he's making 6k per month. 6k per month. Okay, that's his 3D reality. That's the physical reality and what the reality is showing him. But in his fourth dimension, so in his imagination, in his mind, he knows for a fact that he can see 50k per month. He knows it. He completely knows that that's possible. He can see it in his mind. We've already done a visualization. He can see it. But today, what he was doing was he was placing his focus on this. Okay, and I want you to go back to this. Placing the focus on this, what does that lead to? The focus, okay, is going to drive the thoughts that you have, because your thoughts and your focus are essentially the same thing. It's going to then drive your emotion, drive your action, and then drive your outcome. You already know this because we spoke about it on the video. So that focus that you have, if you're focused on this 3D world, this 3D reality, well, guess what? Your thoughts are going to align with 6K a month. Your emotions are going to align with 6K a month. Your actions are going to align with 6K a month. And then the outcomes will align with 6K per month. But we've just agreed that you believe that you've got more and you can see it in your imagination. You know for a fact, 100%. Like you know that there's something more in there. So my client knows that he must at some point make 50K per month. He knows that. So because of this knowing, this sense of knowing, and you can understand the 4D, hopefully this has allowed you to understand the fourth dimension and how this is created, and you tap into it and see it with your imagination, and the fact that every idea becomes reality in the third dimensional plane by taking action. You know that that must be a thing, that you know that this is a thing. So what you can then start to do is, if you know for a fact, okay, if you know for a fact this must happen at some point, you can start to live in this anticipation. And what are you anticipating? You're anticipating 50K per month. And we've all been in a position in life before where, sorry if I've just made that shadowed, right? But we've all been in a position before where we're anticipating something bad and you've got this kind of feeling where you just feel a bit kind of negative and something might go wrong. Well, think about this. I know I said bro there because I'm too busy talking to the boys. If you know that there's 50K a month in your future, you know it's possible. Like you're like, right, come on. The iPhone, think about the iPhone, how complex an iPhone is. You can't make 50K a month. Of course you can. And if you still have doubts, let me ask you, is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. So if it's not impossible, it's possible. That means that this must exist in some way. You can definitely see that as a potential. It definitely exists in your imagination. Well, if that's the case, then like everything else that existed in the imagination before, that can be materialized into your physical life using action. So if we know that, we can start to live in this anticipation. We can start to focus, place our focus on this 50K per month. Perfect. So what's that 50K per month going to do when we focus on it? Well, it's going to make us start thinking in alignment with the 50K. And then we're going to start to feel like the person that has 50K. And then we're going to start to act and take actions like the person that has 50K does. And therefore, we're going to start to get outcomes like the 50K person does, right? And this is what's happening. This thought, this feeling, this action, that is your identity. That's who you are, right? It's literally who you are. This is what makes up your state of being, who you are, who you're being. Because if you think negatively, if you feel negatively, you act negatively, you're a negative person. That's who you are. That's your state of being. But if you think positively, feel positively, and act positively, you're a positive person. That's who you are. That's your state of being. So if you start thinking from that 50K, you're going to start feeling like it, like we said there, acting like it, the outcome. And like we spoke about previously in the video, your brain will literally filter reality once you shift the belief. And once you start living with this anticipation and knowing that this must happen at some point because you can see it in your mind, well, guess what? You're going to start to align yourself with the ideas, with the inspired thoughts of making that money. And it will happen instantly. When you shift the belief, this happens instantly. You start to get ideas of how you can make that money. You start to go, oh, I could actually triple my price there. It's actually really valuable. Actually, I believe that I can charge that much money. And what will make a difference? This is the thing, right? This is so easy, and this is what I need you to really, really think about in your mind. The difference between you making 6K per month and 50K per month, the only difference in here, okay, is the decision. Step number one. Step number one, make a decision. You need to decide that you're now making 50K a month. Once you made that decision, perfect. You now believe it. If you really truly decide, that belief is now solid because you now believe in you after using this evidence from the 4D, the imagination that we spoke about, and comparing, like simply comparing the result that you want to the craziest things that have happened, like the iPhone, like people being absolutely homeless to being billionaires. Like, there's a lot of things that have happened that's a lot more crazy than you using that 50K per month. So, this is why most people fail, because the focus is on the 3D when the focus needs to be on the 4D. It needs to be on this imagination, which is going to activate this internal mechanism that we spoke about, okay? But let me make this even clearer as to why people do that, why people fail, okay? And what really happens when they do fail. Let me make sure this is nice and clean. Like what actually is happening, like ultimately, Well, ultimately what people are doing is they're counting the score too quick. It is essentially what I spoke about there with the 3D, but I want to make this even more clear before you finish watching this video. So what will happen is, you've got this 6k per month mindset, and you want to get to this 50k per month mindset. Perfect, like that's really good, and you feel excited about it. But what will happen is, as soon as you install these new beliefs, what will happen is you'll take the thought, you'll think the thoughts, you'll feel the emotions, perfect. You'll take the actions, amazing. But these outcomes that you're looking for, they won't come straight away. There's something called an echo effect. And it's a period of time. So if you look at this here as a period of time, there's a period of time that it will take for these new beliefs to materialize into outcomes and results. And these new thoughts, feelings, and actions, right? There's a period of time. And this period of time, we can call it the echo effect. So going back to the concept that we spoke about. We spoke about cause, effect. Perfect. Talk about the cause and effect. So we'll just keep this here. Actually, no, we won't. We'll move that there. So we spoke about this. So the beliefs, okay, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, the outcome, and the results are the effect of that. But what's happening is, or what will happen is, during this period of time, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to get the old effect. So something that I need you to understand is the present moment is old news. The present moment was created by the past. The present moment is an echo effect of the past. Right? Perfect. What's an echo effect of? It's an echo effect of your old state. Okay, what is your state? Your state is obviously your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, like we spoke about. So that present moment is an echo effect. That means that once you install these new beliefs, there's going to be a period in time that it will take for the outcomes to take place. But what will happen a lot of the time is you'll install these new beliefs, and that echo effect, that period in time that it will take for you to get the new outcomes, there will be old effects happening. There will be results from that old state still going on in your present. So this is why it's so important to not focus too much on the 3D, not too much on the physical results that you've got right now, because you're going to install these new beliefs, you're going to think positively, feel positively, act positively, and you're still going to be experiencing that old effect. You're going to be experiencing the effect from that old cause, which is the way that you used to think, and this could be last week. Used to think, used to feel, used to act, all the results that you have in life, there's a period of time that it takes for them to materialize. Perfect. During that time of installing the new beliefs, between the new beliefs and the new outcomes, in this time here, you need to be focused on the 4D. You need to be locked into that new person that you're trying to become. You need to have faith, like the state that you want to be in here, is you want to have faith. State of faith. A state of gratitude. And let me even just send this home. Let me make this even clearer. I want you to imagine, and you do the same thing with your goals. So imagine you want to make 100k in the next 30 days, 50k in the next 30 days, 20k, whatever it is. I want you to apply this analogy. Imagine I said to you, you've won the lottery and you're definitely getting £10 million at the end of this month. How would you live that month? Well, you'd be in anticipation. During this period of time, you'd be in anticipation that 10 million is coming, but you would also have a sense of knowing. You would have conviction and you know that it's already done. Just the same way that you do about your 4D. The same way that you do about that fourth dimension with the imagination and the version of you that exists in this fourth dimension in your mind. You would know that 10 million's hitting your bank in 30 days' time. So you'd be walking about, you'd be like, that 10 million's coming. I'm in anticipation for good things to happen. That's the same state that you need to be in when you're setting these new goals. Because you know it will happen if you don't give up. You know it must happen because you can see it in your mind. The iPhone is much crazier than your results that you want. Crazy. A lot crazier. People being homeless to billionaire, a lot more crazy than what you want. So you can walk about with this sense of knowing that it must happen. And you can live in anticipation for that good thing to happen. And as long as you're doing that, guess what you're doing? I've not got it on the whiteboard anymore, but you're focusing on the goal, the positive thing. So you're thinking positively, you're feeling good, you're acting in alignment, you're reinforcing the positive belief, your reticular activating system is filtering reality for success and opportunities to move towards it and hit the goal. You actually can't lose at this point, as long as you stick to the things that I spoke to in here. And watch reality change, because you do not see reality as it is, you see reality as you are. You see reality through the filter of your mind. You don't see it with your eyes, you see it with your mind. And if your mind has negative beliefs in it, reality will be negative. If your mind has positive, empowering beliefs, reality will reaffirm those beliefs every single time. So have faith, have gratitude between the period of time of these new beliefs and the results that you want, because it must happen. And hopefully this video has given you some conviction. Hopefully it's gave you some insight into how this actually works. And I really hope it's changed your life, because this is really a life-changing information, and I couldn't appreciate your time more. So until the next YouTube video, because I've got a lot of YouTube videos that go into these even more, I'll see you soon. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are.